Welcome to Volume 3 of the Scariest Things Caught on Doorbell Camera. Number 5. This video was captured by a Ring doorbell in a lovely and generally peaceful area in the Netherlands. The person was in bed on a typical night when he heard noises on the roof. Speculating that it might have been an animal, he ignored it and retired to bed. This was the video he had the following morning. After viewing the notifications, discovered from his doorbell ring alerts. In the video preceding are 3 or 4 people trespassing on his property. 2 of them were ascending the roof, and the other of the 3 visible individuals speaking out of earshot of one or more of the camera's perspective. Fortunately, it was a cool night, and the home's windows were all closed because of this. It was obvious the intruders were attempting to break in when scratch marks were discovered on 2 upstairs windows that appeared as though someone had been attempting to lift them open. Given that there were 3 or 4 of them, they could have posed a serious threat had they gained entry. After watching the video, the viewer made sure to keep those windows locked the following nights. A few nights later, he awoke to the sound of someone trying to open a downstairs window. But this time, the Ring camera missed it. The police were given the tape in the hopes that they could recognize the people from their faces. We blurred out their faces simply to make sure that if any of the offenders saw this video, they wouldn't return to the residence again to exact any sort of retribution. 4. We see in the video that a masked young man approached the front door of a house with a weapon in his hand in the dead of night, that he stood there for only a few seconds, clearly contemplating what he was about to do, then backing out, probably because he knew what he was about to do, possibly even having specifically chosen this specific house. Despite how quickly it happened, this is one of the simpler yet scarier clips captured by a doorbell camera. The chances of this guy or any other person with a gun coming back shouldn't be taken lightly, and that kind of footage should be submitted to the police right away. Of course, without all the details, that's just speculation. There could be a lot of other explanations as to what's going on here. Here is one that had us scratching our heads. 3. Stephen Groves, 56, is the man you are seeing. For the past 2 full years, Groves had been harassing his disabled neighbor, Stephen Prasad, and his caregivers. The harassment had been captured on Prasad's Ring doorbell camera several times. In some clips, he can be seen attempting to clip the device's wires with a screwdriver. In another, he attempts to write on the lens with a marker without success. In both of these clips, he can also be seen whacking the device with a hammer or a nail. It is unknown why the man has been attacking his neighbor's property for the past 6 months, but Groves has been found guilty of 3 counts of harassing Prasad and has been placed under a curfew and compelled to pay damages. The restraining order that was put in place is obviously having no effect, as Groves is still harassing Prasad. In addition to the restraining order, Groves has been put on an electric tag for the better part of the year and was also ordered 20 weeks of rehabilitation. Police don't seem to be willing to act. Stephen Prasad's niece is terrified for her uncle and has stated that this is affecting her mental health, and she's scared that Groves may have intentions to harm her uncle. Groves has received many convictions, placing Prasad in a precarious situation. It is clear that this man is psychotic, which is why it is reasonable that this is causing Prasad and his niece sleepless nights. Because this individual is obviously dangerous and unstable and might do more than simply take his property. Stay tuned. You don't want to miss number 1. 2. This following video was captured at a late hour of the night in an unidentified neighborhood. 2 hooded people, one of whom was wearing a mask, approach a man's front door, and when he responds, the woman poses as though her car broke down and she needs to borrow a phone.
Hello, do y'all have a phone I can use? My car broke down and y'all's the only one that got a light on.
We don't.
You don't?
Sorry.
His Ring camera would have allowed him to see who was at the front door before opening it, So if he felt the need to reply to the persons, he could have done that through the voice feature instead of opening a door to two hooded strangers at this hour, which was his first mistake. He told them they didn't have a phone, but opening the door in the first place was a mistake, as the men in the yellow hoodie and mask took the opportunity to rush the door with a gun, after taking one last look to the right to check for witnesses. Fortunately, the homeowners slammed the door in their faces, and the two attackers left the area. If you've watched any of my other videos about doorbell camera footage, you know the importance of checking your surroundings before unlocking and opening your door, especially depending on the area in which you live. In this case, the homeowner narrowly escaped robbery and danger and hopefully learned to check who's at his door before answering. Although that's scary, what is even scarier would be missing out on more of our videos. Number 1. You can see how close to danger this mother and her child were in this video captured by the Ring doorbell camera of TikToker Jojo Ramirez. The only thing standing between her and the ominous man was her front door, which she quickly latched. What makes this terrifying is that it demonstrates how most people live their daily lives unaware of the possibility that someone else can endanger them.
Go shower really fast. I need you to go shower. Please, Daniel. Who's that? Who is that? Get out of here! Get out of here! There's a guy outside. Look.
In this instance, Jojo had just picked up her son. They were on their way home, having a typical mother-son conversation. The creepy man at the front door then tries the door handle, alerting Jojo that someone was at the front door. And you can hear her respond in an alarmed voice. "Who is that? Get out of here. Who is that? Get out of here." She then exclaims to her son, "There's a guy over there." He then steps back and stares creepily at the door. This is a typical moment in which a mother would let her guard down in the assumed safety of her own property. It's unclear what would have occurred if the door hadn't been secured in time. But a pretty strong presumption would be that the man was seeking Daniel, Jojo's small boy. The man appeared out of nowhere so rapidly that no one could guess he may have been waiting for them to return, or had been following them for a while.